Hello world, and welcome to the Hilltop Tabletop, where today we will attempt an historically inspired mission. It is the Bruneval raid, Operation Biting, in which British paratroopers famously succeeded in securing critical technical equipment from a German Würzburg radar in occupied France, and then fought their way to the beach and were extracted by the Royal Navy. So we have the scenario for today is actually available from the Warlord website. I'll put the link in the description of the video. So if you are sitting on your computer at home, you might like to open up a second tab and consult the scenario as we go, because it is quite an involved one. Otherwise, I'll try to explain it now. So we have, here is the radar, here is the chateau, and here is the square. This is the deployment zone for the paras. Now they must fight their way to the radar. They must spend a turn inside the radar, securing the technical devices, and then they must make their way all the way across to the beach and exit the table here. So it's all to do for the paratroopers. It's always difficult in a war game when you have to cover that much ground. The Germans, meanwhile, will be trying to stop them. Their deployment is dictated at the start. There's one squad will be inside the chateau. A command section starts inside the radar installation. A second squad is in one of these two huts. The Germans get to choose that, and then they have a machine gun emplacement which goes either there, there, or there. Those three red markers. Everything else for the Germans is in reserve and comes on at random. So on a 1 to 3, on a 1 to 4, they come in through the north gate. On a 5, they may come in from anywhere on the eastern edge. And should they roll a 6, they may come in through this southern reinforcement gate. The southern reinforcement gate is also where the paratrooper reinforcements come on, representing those forces that were actually dropped too far south and had to make their way double time to reach the mission site. The two really unusual parts, I suppose, of the mission are that, number one, it is night fight, which is quite a punishing set of rules, where your range is found rolling 2d6, and there are further penalties if the squad is small or whatnot. So you really do need to be close to engage, which should help the paratroopers' survivability as they go about their task. And the second interesting factor in this scenario is that German forces actually respawn if they're destroyed, to represent the greatly superior German numbers in the area. So if a German unit is destroyed, instead of being removed from play, it is put into ongoing reserve and comes back. So there is essentially an endless supply of German reserves. So the paras need to get the job done and get out before they're overwhelmed. So yeah, hopefully it's a good game. We'll move on now to the forces and get started. So here are the German defenders in the scenario. These are all regular Heer infantry. Sector commander is an Oberleutnant with 2 men. Regular Heer infantry 8-man squad with an LMG. Patrol section with a LMG 5-man squad. Medium machine gun emplacement. A lieutenant with 3 5-man squads representing local patrols, a medium mortar, a sniper, and one Hanomag transport. There's 800 points of regular Heer infantry. 11 order dice for the German forces.
Right, so here we have the Paratroopers. This is the squad that's actually managed to arrive. This is the one that's in reserve. This here is Frost. He's being backed up by a machine gun crew. He's got his first lieutenant there, snipers. There's a assault squad there in SMGs and a squad with an LMG thing. And we go over to that squad. It's pretty much identical. It's got a first lieutenant, a sniper squad. It's got an SMG squad and an LMG squad pretty much. And that's all we've got to complete the mission with.
And that is 10 order dice
10
for the paratroopers. So after deployment, we have the German lieutenant and his 2 men in the Würzburg radar. We have a squad of 8 dining in the chateau. The Germans have elected to put their machine gun emplacement right down near the beach where the paras need to exit. And the final starting squad for the Germans is here on the top floor. Here are the paras in their deployment zone. So they are lurking in the darkness. They've been careful to set up as far away as they can from the chateau and occupied hut, just in case a German dice comes out first. But they are still within assault range of those 2 things for when they're ready to act. So we shall see how it unfolds. The first die drawn is a German die. And hearing noises in the darkness, the squad inside this hut sneak out the back door to investigate. The next die out is British. And suddenly everything is happening. Frost, using his Major's Snap 2 ability, orders units surrounding him, including his lieutenant there, who chain reaction Snap 2's his platoon. And the very first squad to act is the assault squad, who storm into the chateau and wipe out the German defenders, suffering 0 casualties in return. The next squad to activate are the LMG squad on a run order, and they are dashing across the open ground. Frost himself acts next on a run order, mounts the stairs in front of the chateau, directing his men. And finally, for the British, the lieutenant, the sniper team, and the immediate machine gun will move up to the edge of their deployment zone, keeping formation together. Meanwhile, down on the beach, the medium machine gun team in their emplacement take an advance order just to spin the machine gun around and get it pointing back towards the chateau. So at the end of turn 1, the chateau has been seized by the paras. The Germans are holed up inside the Würzburg radar. The rest of the para squads are advancing across the open ground. Germans just slinking away here, making their way back towards the beach, where the machine guns are waiting. The first die drawn in turn 2 is a British die, issued to Frost, who orders his platoon to snap 2. Everyone advances, so it's the squad inside the chateau and the squad that was running across the open ground, now closing in on the Würzburg radar installation, which is actually blind on this side. So we're saying the squad on ambush inside are going to have to wait. They're ready at this door, and there's going to be a firefight. The next die drawn is a German die, and the machine gun emplacement goes on to ambush. Thinking that they don't have the night sight range to spot those dashing units. They're more than 18 inches away. So they're just going to have to wait until they get closer. The next die drawn is German, and the squad that had retreated from that hut now dashed towards the beach, forming up with the MG position, trying to just form a bit of a block to prevent these paras from escaping. The remaining dice are British, and the lieutenant brings his medium machine gun crew and his sniper across to the hut that was vacated by that German squad. The sniper tucks inside, and the medium machine gun crew just outside the door. At the end of turn 2 now, we have the Germans forming a little bit of a blockade at the beach exit with the medium machine gun team and the LMG section. Paras securing that hut. It's a bit of a blockhouse. And over here, we have Frost and his men converging on the Würzburg radar. So the first die drawn for turn 3 is a German die, and they've taken an advance order for the LMG section here, just tucking in behind the lee of the building, suspicious of noises they hear in the other hut and wanting to avoid any sniper fire. The second die is also German, and they attempt now to bring on the Hanomag from reserve that has the Oberleutnant and the reincarnated 8-man squad, but they failed their order check. They've not come on from reserve and instead gone down. Third die for turn 3 is also German. They've successfully come in from reserve, and a 6 was rolled for where they come on, which means they're coming on here from the south gate, which puts them in a good position to form up with their fellows. Again, just tucking in behind the building, obviously tipped off that there's paras in the second hut. The next die out is British, and Frost takes the opportunity, activating his platoon. The first squad sent in are the LMG squad. They kick in the door, trigger the ambush. 3 submachine guns open up. 3 of the paras go down in the doorway. Then the assault begins. With the assault over, the German command section has been victorious inside the Würzburg radar. The lieutenant has survived. All 5 of the LMG team have been wiped out, as they were cynically sent in by their commander to absorb the German ambush and make the way for the para assault team to finish the job. And as that assault squad is activated, paras take the radar, wiping out the last German defender, and Frost moves up to join his men. The next die drawn is German. Reinforcements successfully come on, randomised at the northern gate. They run to try and engage the paratroopers at the Würzburg installation. The next die drawn is British, and the sniper team advance up the stairs to take up a firing position through this loophole on the second floor of the hut. Following die is a British die. The lieutenant activates, moving up to the corner, snapping to the medium machine gun team, take up a position on the ground floor, actually covering the reinforcement gate and the south table board edge. So the remaining action for the turn is with the German reinforcements. A second LMG section and the medium mortar both rolled to come on from the north gate. Just a wave of reinforcements coming through, chasing these paras. Meanwhile, hugging the woods, and the German sniper team sneaks onto the battlefield. So at the conclusion to turn 3, German reinforcements are beginning to arrive around the chateau. This is where the paras will have to fight their way through. This hut's occupied. Sniper team and medium machine gun team in position with their lieutenant commanding. German reinforcements sweeping in also from the north. While at the radar, Frost and his men now scramble to remove those critical technical gubbins. The first die drawn for turn 4 is a British die, and it's issued to the medium machine gun team inside the hut, going on to ambush now, properly covering the southern reinforcement point. The following die is also a German die, and this LMG section runs, closing in on the Würzburg. The next die drawn is British, and the sniper goes on to ambush. So next 2 dice drawn are British dice. The first dice is given to the LMG section, who fail to come on from reserve. The second dice is given to the SMG section, and they have succeeded. They've come on from the south gate and they've sprung a point-blank shootout on the German squad that were in the lee of this building. 3 casualties caused. They've failed their morale check, and the remaining men dash off into the night. The next die drawn is a German die, and the second squad in the position now advances, counterfires at the commandos, their LMG letting rip at point blank. All but 1 man is gunned down. He stands his ground. The next dice drawn is a German dice, and the Hanomag comes on from reserve, rolling to come on from the eastern board edge, looking to cut off the retreat of Frost and his men. That Hanomag is carrying the Oberleutnant and an 8-man Heer infantry squad. The next die is German, and the sniper team advance into the wood. They fire their rifles at the lone surviving paratrooper, putting another pin on him, but failing to take him out. The British sniper team now, in the top story of the hut, trigger their ambush, return fire at the Germans in the wood, but they miss. The next die is a German die, and the lieutenant comes on. A 6 is rolled, so he's come through the south gate right into the teeth of that medium machine gun. Opens up, both his associates go down. He passes his morale, and now he's ready to open fire on the survivor of the paratrooper squad. He's pinned down this para. He's got 3 markers on him. but he is surviving. A British dice is drawn, and the lieutenant comes on from reserve, advances into the brush, takes a shot with his rifle, missing the German lieutenant. The action is thick at this southern reinforcement point. British die has been drawn, and their sniper team has come in from reserve up into the shrubbery. They fire a couple of rifle shots at the lieutenant. They fail to kill him. He's got a second pin on him. Meanwhile, over at the Würzburg, the Paras have secured their prize. They've spent a turn on a rally order, and Frost has gone down, hiding in the darkness as his men complete their work, with the Germans closing in. At the end of turn 4, we have a ferocious, point-blank, nighttime firefight at the southern reinforcement entry point. The machine gun still lying in wait. The Hanomag ready to intercept, as now Frost and his men must take their prize, elude the Germans, and exfiltrate to the beach. A German die is next out of the bag, and with a run order, the Germans surround the building, boxing up the paratroopers inside.
Calling for their surrender.
Calling for their surrender. The Paras do not surrender. The next die drawn is British. It goes to Frost, and he commands his men into the assault. The Paras fight their way out. They take a single casualty, and they pass their man off to Frost, the German technician, and the critical Würzburg radar components. Can he reach the beach? The next die out is British. Goes to the lieutenant near the southern reinforcement entrance. He snaps to the para who is pinned, urged on by his officer. He races right by these Germans, diving into the window of the building. Nice. And the lieutenant fires at the muzzle flashes in the dark, picking off the lieutenant. A German die comes out. Hanomag advances, taking a line of sight with its MMG, but the darkness and the Denison smock do their work, and they cannot spot the single man as he hunkers down beside the building. The next die is British, and the medium machine gun spin around on an advance order and open up on the Hanomag, spraying it down, putting a pin on it, and causing the 2 units inside to suffer a pin. The next die drawn is a German die, and the Heer infantry squad inside the Hanomag receive an order to run in an attempt to cut off Frost and his men. The next die drawn is British, and the sniper unit in the hut goes on to ambush. A German die is drawn, but the LMG section fails their order check and go down. Another sacrifice move here from the paratroopers. The sniper team advance into the open, into the jaws of this LMG section, drawing out their ambush. They open fire at close range, wiping them out. And the sacrifice play now pays off, as another British die is drawn, and the last remaining British reinforcements, the LMG section, come on and counterfire, wiping that squad of German Heer out. A German die is drawn, and in reply the sniper in the forest fires through at the muzzle flashes, picking out the Bren gun from the para squad and putting a pin on the squad. The next die out is British, and from the sights of the Hanomag, the lieutenant skirts around the building, getting himself out of danger, at least for the moment. The remaining dice are German. The first die is given to the Oberleutnant inside the Hanomag, who stays embarked as his vehicle is eyed by the sniper on ambush from the window above him. The last two die are German. The machine gun section run up, closing the ground between themselves and the paras, and the mortar spotter also runs forward, trying to get eyes on. End of turn 5 here, and the paras have secured the south reinforcement point. And they're holding both these huts with forces. And then we have the Germans, the Hanomag, that light machine gun section, the medium machine guns in their emplacement. And here is Frost and his paras ready to try and make that ground as they're being chased by the German reinforcements. And the first die out in turn 6 is a German die, allowing this section to get the drop on the paras. They advance, open up at point blank. 2 paras go down and a pin marker is on them. They pass their morale. The next die out is British, and under heavy fire, Frost ordered his men toward the beach. How far is that? Too far, perhaps. A German die is drawn, and Hanomag advances up behind the infantry, taking rifle shots from the sniper team on ambush as they leave, putting a pin marker back on them. A British dice is drawn, and the lone man who last turn dived through the window into this hut now comes charging out the door. He has an anti-tank grenade in his hand, and he charges into the side of the Hanomag, but he fails to land his grenade where it needs to go. And the Hanomag is unscathed. Heroic effort though. A British dice is drawn, and the medium machine gun is swung around to fire through this loophole, but in the darkness they cannot spot the German infantry. A hail of bullets in the darkness. LMG squad approach to point blank, and they open up at this para section. 1 man goes down. The NCO is alive. He takes a pin marker and passes his morale. German die is drawn, and the sniper fires at the muzzle flashes, but he can't pick out the men, and they're out of range in the night fight. A German die is drawn. Another LMG section reinforcement, again with a roll of a 6. They come in at the south entrance, right behind the paras, opening up, bringing down 1 man and putting a second pin on the squad. Confusion here as the paras with their pin markers on them come up with a foo bar. The result being actually a run, panicked run, but it all works out for the best because they find themselves running 12 inches and their boots hit the sand of the extraction beach. A German die is pulled. This time the reinforcements are from the north. They come running on, far from the action. They're closing in from all sides. Another German dice is drawn and reinforcements come from the east. Still fairly far from the actual action here. There's frost. Eyes the beach. More German reinforcements, but they are delayed,
Just this guy.
failing their order test. They do not come on. The lieutenant has the medium machine gun emplacement flanked and he charges it on a run, but he doesn't reach it. He's closing in. Can he get there next turn? In what order will the dice arrive? A German die is drawn and the Oberleutnant disembarks from the Hanomag, running to cut off Frost. The last die is drawn, it's German, and the hapless mortar spotter rushes forward, still trying to get into a position where he can call a shot in the night. At the conclusion of turn 6, it's come down to this: Frost holding the objective, one paratrooper by his side, surrounded by Germans. Meanwhile, a desperate charge from the lieutenant. Remnants of that LMG section have reached the beach. Can they link up and escape? It will be down to the dice and a desperate series of unlikely assaults. But the first order die is German. And the LMG squad, given assault orders, charge the single man. But the single man is John Frost, and he wins the close assault, wiping them out. The next order die drawn is also German. They change their tactics. Now not wanting to charge the man, they advance to point blank. But in the darkness, Frost evades them. It's over here. A heroic last charge. One after the other. The last remaining para plus Frost into the Heer squad, and they're repelled. And the critical Würzburg equipment is recovered by the Germans. So there was the game. It was a lot of fun to play. I think, to be honest, we were all a little bit disappointed that the Paras didn't get there. Even the German players, I think, were secretly a bit disappointed that they didn't make it. There was a lot of heroics at the end. Was it a balanced scenario? I think it was. I think it was a really good scenario. The Germans just, they were lucky on their rolls, particularly with their reinforcement rolls. They needed to roll a 6 to bring on reinforcements through that gate, really critically close to the beach, and they repeatedly did that. The German reinforcements just kept being thrown right into the fight instead of having to chase the Paras from way back at the northern gate or from across the board. So in the end, it wasn't to be, but it was a great game from our point of view, and I hope a good one from yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Cheerio. I click this button, but it doesn't turn off. Which is its go to sleep button, Neil? Is it this?